Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of The Power of Storytelling. Today we have Ashley Villa on with us. She's the CEO of the Blooming Models program here in the Dallas area. If you guys do enjoy the conversation, make sure to follow and like on whatever platform you're listening on. And thank you guys for tuning into another episode. Let's get into the conversation. Well, first off, I do appreciate you for hopping on and doing the interview with us. It means a lot, and we hope that people do enjoy it. Usually what I like to start out with is kind of you introducing yourself, talk about, where you're from or what you're doing right now, and then kind of we'll just get into conversation.
Okay. I'm Ashley Villa. I am the CEO of the Blooming Models program. And a little bit about myself is I am recently 21 and I am starting out with my business, which is now 2 years going on three, which I am excited. And it's basically a community of young girls, mainly in the like Hispanic community, and trying to raise awareness that they can also become models. It's kind of really rare in like my area where girls are want to wear heels or they want to put makeup, look a little bit more professional and educated in this modeling industry. So that's kind of my main focus. My main goal is to inspire them with all ethnicities, all backgrounds, not just one race, is that they can go ahead and try something new if they put their mind into it.
For
hmm
sure. That's awesome. So how did you kind of get started into that, or what made you want to do that?
What made me? Um, I would have to say, honestly, the idea came from my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, the Blooming Models Academy came from my dad at 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He said, "Why don't you go ahead and start modeling school? You have the experience, you have the years, you know what you're doing. Plus, you love teaching. You like younger kids. You like teaching. You like being inspirational. And plus, I'm bilingual, both Spanish and English, so I can target a little bit more of the audiences.
Nice.
And I've gotten asked a lot." Why don't you teach me? Can you give me some private classes? And that's when the idea was created and said, okay, let's start. And we started, and now I have about 30 girls in
Oh,
the
wow.
program. Yes.
That's phenomenal. I do like to ask this. So for anyone usually starting like a business or starting it, something like that, you tend to learn a lot through experience. What is like a big thing that you learned that you didn't expect to kind of happen in your industry?
Uh, Big thing that I learned was to make connections,
Hmm.
to keep your options open, feel comfortable and confident in yourself, because it all starts with you. Every decision you take, it's you. Every risk you take, it's on you. And especially at a very young age of me, with all these other older generations, they have more experience in the industry. They know what they're doing. It's kind of intimidating for me, which I try to teach the girls and also some boys as well that don't be scared. Just go ahead, keep going. This is you. This is your dream. So go ahead and continue. They can say whatever they want to say, and that's fine. It's just if you put determination and you learn as you go, and as you grow, it's perfect. You'll be fine from there. That's what I've found so far.
That's awesome.
hmm
Yeah, that's where one of my mentors usually told me this. They always said, if you're looking at someone from the outside, someone that you look up to, they don't ever look scared or they don't look nervous or it doesn't seem like they have anxiety. But in reality, everyone has some type of anxiety or, they're scared
Yeah.
about something. They just do it anyways. And I think that's super important is because a lot of people, they look at themselves or they're how they're feeling and they're like, I'm having this anxiety. I'm just not going to do it. But you have to realize everyone has that. And the thing that sets people apart is still doing it even when you're scared.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard. Like when you first start off, it's really hard because you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Hmm.
You don't know if it's like the negative comments. You don't know who's talking bad about you, and there's always going to be those type of people. And you just got to keep moving forward. This is your idea. This is your dream. Don't let somebody else bring you down just because of their comments or their hatred. They're just jealous. That's all. They're just jealous, and they're like, oh, at such a young age, you're doing so much more from my experience, from my level. So that's why they go ahead and talk.
Yep, yeah, that's what I've heard as well. Is if someone is talking bad about you, it's not a reflection of you; it's a reflection of them. and it's usually the state that
True.
they're in or something that's going on in their life. So yeah, I mean, I think that's super informative. I do like to talk about too, like where you grew up,
Mhm.
and kind of like the family situation, kind of how it was and how it is now.
Wow, so that's such a big difference. This is kind of more personal, but we did grow up really poor,
Hmm.
really, really poor. We only ate, in my personal experience, we only ate at school and maybe like one meal afterwards. So we started from the very, very bottom. And now, as we grew, as we learned, and we experienced all these experiences, all these journeys, it's been crazy. To my age now, at 21, I feel like I've accomplished a lot that when I was 5, 6 years old, I didn't think I was going to be able to make it,
For sure.
especially by myself. My guidance was actually my dad. He was kind of like more of a mentor.
Okay.
As he learned, he taught me. And from there, I try to work the ideas. And I don't have any other like people in business. They didn't give me that information. So kind of like when you're a beginner and it's your first time, as a first time, I'm sorry, first generation Latina daughter here in the United States is kind of more pressure.
Hmm.
And I could kind of see like, okay, you kind of have to pay the way for everybody else behind you.
For sure.
So that's kind of what made me keep going and be that motivation and be that like role model for the next generation.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's one of the best feelings is whenever you have that mentor, you working hard and changing your life. Now you can be a mentor to other people,
Yeah,
and you can see that throughout your business because having a bunch of people under you that are learning from you, you're now their mentor. So that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Um. Like, I like
Mhm.
to talk. You said that you're bilingual as well. Did you grow up? Where were you born?
I was actually born here in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yes, my parents are actually from Mexico, and they did move over here where I was born and raised. So
Nice.
yes, I've learned both languages at the same time. So that was kind of difficult. I didn't know the difference at first,
Hmm.
but as I grew, like ESL in school, those like separate classes, I learned the difference. So it's kind of hard, but
That's
you
awesome.
kind of feel kind of special as well for like all bilinguals. If you're learning another language, you feel like, okay, now I could communicate with more audiences, network more, not just with one language.
Yeah, I think that's a really good skill to have is to speak multiple languages. I
Yeah.
personally am not right now, but it's something that I need to learn. I think it's just very
Mhm.
important, and also just it's a good way to
Mhm.
challenge your brain as well.
Yes.
Um, so you were talking about your dad was your mentor.
Mhm.
What is something that he taught you that really stuck with you that changed like your mentality?
Mm, I would say to not depend on anybody.
Mhm.
Um, yes, like in this society now, a lot of things are going on, of course. But he always told me you don't have to depend on anybody else. No, no male, no guy, somebody with more experience. No, it's all on you. It's if you mess up, that's on you. If you succeed, that's on you. So that's what really stuck with me is don't depend on other people for your dream. That's the worst that you can do because if it goes wrong, you're gonna feel so like unsuccessful. You're gonna feel like drained, and that's not how it's supposed to go.
Mm.
It's 100%. You give it your all the time, and you go up from there because that's the only way you can go. It's up if you're starting from the bottom.
For sure, and that's
Yeah.
how you learn as well is taking responsibility for either whether it's your mistakes or even your successes.
Yes.
If you always are constantly blaming it on other people or saying that the world is just against you, you have no way up, you have no way to learn from those if you're just putting all the responsibility on other people and not basing that outcome on your own hard work.
True.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. So you
Yeah.
own it's almost like a modeling teaching company. What is
Mhm.
something that you have seen like mentoring other people? What do you feel like their hardships are? What challenges has come up with like mentoring other people? Like, have you seen them? Was it like the anxiety thing? Was it just them trying to overcome work ethic? What was it, would you say?
I do have a lot of instructors. They teach different majors, which is like runways, posing, commercial, on camera. So I feel like everybody has their own struggles on that. That being building your confidence. It's a major key that we focus on is to build your self confidence, how to speak a little bit more on camera, acting. I would say they're really scared of walking in higher heels,
Okay.
feeling pretty about themselves, feeling that they can actually accomplish something new. Because this is a whole new industry. It's like a whole new, different level, a whole new world. Um, and it's kind of, for me, it's inspiring that you get to see the girls at such a young age accomplish so much. And it's just, it motivates me to help them out with their self confidence, building a little bit more of their image. Because, like I said, they don't feel pretty enough, but they're just so beautiful. Like if you see them, they start off from 10 years old, and I have a 20-year-old. It's like that age range,
For sure.
and you can kind of see their struggles. Like each and every one struggles differently, but after that, they overcome it, and I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah, but that's super motivating to like
Yeah.
as you're helping someone through and you just start to see them really bloom into their real
Yes.
selves. That's awesome. So I love to ask a few things about like your almost like your childhood in a sense.
Hmm.
Just to kind of for anyone that's watching to realize like whether it's like not having your family at home all the time either because they're always working or having like a split household. What do you think has led you to be super like motivated with yourself? Because a lot of people whenever they're given everything they don't try to like push for their own stuff, like their own agency or their own team or whatever it is. What do you feel like throughout your childhood made you kind of have that mentality of you want to do something bigger? I know you talked about your dad. Is there anything else kind of as you grew up that kind of molded that mentality?
Yes, I would have to say, to better myself, like I actually started the program because I didn't have the self confidence, I didn't have those connections, I didn't have that help
Hmm.
that I wish I had.
Oh wow.
I was a whole different person at 14 years old. This was like 7 years ago, six,
Hmm.
7 years ago. And there wasn't opportunities that I wanted, or being I was taught really well, but it wasn't like how I wish I was learning, because I learned differently from other students. Of course, we all do. And I decided to create something where if I know I can learn from it, let me go ahead and teach my way to other girls who learn the same how I do.
For sure.
So that's what kind of motivated me. And I was like, if I don't get those opportunities, I'm gonna pave the way for those opportunities for other young girls.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, you're only 21, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so being super young in this, I bet that you like in this industry, I'm sure that you have a lot of people that kind of don't take you seriously because of your age or like
Yeah.
and it seems like you have a lot of experience, so it might not even be that just purely like your age. Have you seen that a lot and what do you do to kind of overcome that in a sense?
Um, well, there's a lot of like negatives.
Mm,
Very in this industry, anybody who's in the business industry, they know it's competitive.
for sure.
There's negativity everywhere. It drains you a lot. um, and I would have to say, don't listen. For me, I tell this to myself, it's okay. They see that you're progressing. They see that you're making it actually work. They didn't believe in you, but you believed in yourself.
Mm,
So go ahead and keep going. Like you got in this far. It's been 2 years, 3 years. You can keep going. It's working. So that's what I tell myself all the time. Don't give up. As many times as I cry, as
mm-hmm.
many times I get upset, and it's so stressful, but at the same time I see like the outcome and how everything's working out, and that's just motivating to keep on going.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think that's super inspiring and very helpful because like kind of like what we talked about, if someone's looking up to you and you're here talking about how, you have hardships as well. You have times where you're crying or you're super frustrated. For someone else to hear that and say, "Oh wow, she has that too." That's just going to motivate them to continue to go and it just give them that
Yes.
assurance to keep pushing.
Hmm.
That's phenomenal. I like to ask this as well, just to get to know a little bit more about you as well. Is
Okay.
like, what do you do for fun? So I know that you work probably really hard and you have limited time, but what are some things that you like to do for fun?
For fun, wow. That's gonna be kind of weird because I actually like being. I'm an introvert, but I like being an extrovert in certain situations. I
For
don't
sure.
know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm really active. If I'm not doing modeling academy, I do have my own side business, which is sorry, which is
You're fine.
my aesthetics business, where I do skincare. I do a lot of machinery on the face. That is one of my side hustles. And then another stuff that I do besides work, it's hobbies, which I like to garden.
Nice.
I like to play sports. I play with my dogs. I'm a really outgoing person. I don't really like being inside.
Mhm.
I'm only inside for work,
Yeah,
but I like being outside in the woods and the mountains. So I'm really open on that. Yeah.
that's awesome. What are some tips that you would give to anyone looking to either be more productive? Because it seems like you do a lot like throughout the day.
Yeah.
What are some tips that you would have for someone that isn't super productive but that wants to be more productive throughout the day?
I would have to say if you put your mind into it, you can make something happen. Like for me, I suffered with depression and anxiety, and the only way to keep myself going is stay active. That's reading a book, that's watching a document, that's going outside, even just taking off your shoes, place them in the grass, absorb that energy from nature. You can kind of get that motivation to keep going, keep going. If you want to say, I want to try a dance group or a dance class, sign up for a dance class. It's not that hard. The least like I can say is no, right? That's the worst.
For sure.
Um, and try it. Try it out. If you always wanted to be a ballerina, try it out. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Go on to the next one and the next one.
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Keep moving. That's one thing that I
Yeah.
was always told, and I've kind of told people as well, is productivity is literally just the act of doing like the things that you need to be doing. So it's a little bit less playing, whether you playing a lot or whether you don't like take action on something, just start doing and stuff will start to fall into place with what you should be doing next, or along the line that you're going. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like to always ask this as well. I think it's
Uh-huh.
super fun to listen to. Is if you could tell yourself something 5-10 years ago, based off of your situation, that would help you the most now, what would that be?
Why didn't you start sooner?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would have to say that. Why didn't you start sooner? You already had the idea. You kind of already had a plan, and you'll learn as you grow along the way because it's different experiences. It's not maybe if I started 3 years ago, I mean, sorry, if I started 7 years ago, that would have been a whole different level, a whole different experience than I am right now.
Um,
So I would have to say, start as soon as you can. It's okay if you mess up. It's okay if you look kind of awkward. It's okay if you don't know, but you learn as you go. And if you do your research and ask for help, get a lot of mentors, I think you'll be fine.
that's awesome. Yeah, just start. Like that's I think a lot of people are sitting in that contemplation bubble of like,
Yeah.
oh, they have their idea or they have whatever they want to do, but either they're missing out on that confidence, which what
Hmm.
I've always been told, and what I've read through books and stuff that really resonated with me was, that the feelings of confidence come after the actions. So if you start doing things as if you were confident or doing the things you should have been, that confidence will come after you start doing it. And I think that kind of lies exactly with what you're saying. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so we can go ahead and we won't have too much more time here. I usually like to ask, is there anything else that you would like to like say to people? Maybe something like one of your best pieces of advice or anything like that, just for people to take with them.
One of my best pieces of advice, like I think I already mentioned a few minutes earlier, is don't give up. Keep going. If you want to try something new, try it. It's you're in this body only one time. Um, and then from there, I don't know what happens. But go ahead, keep going. Don't give up. Even if people say the worst, even if they put your business down, you have people who actually want to help you. You have people who actually want to be there for you, who support you. It might be a stranger. Strangers are basically the ones who are supporting you the most
For
than your
sure.
close relatives or your friends. That's what I've learned.
Mhm.
So you got to be really careful with what you're doing. Take cautions, of course, but at the same time, be acknowledgeable. So learn, listen to advice, whatever they want to say. Maybe critics, listen to that. They're saying it because of a reason, but don't give up and start as soon as you can if you have an idea.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else, or is there anything you want to shout out? I know you have your agency and stuff, so if you want to go ahead and shout it out real quick so people can look you up.
Yeah, of course. So my agency, which is basically a modeling academy, is the Blooming Models program. We are located and based in Mesquite area, so you can go ahead and send me a message or a DM. My phone number and information are there as well, and I'm always open to chatting with you, and we can get you into an orientation so you can start your classes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you
thank
so
you.
much for being on here. I really do appreciate it, and we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you later.